Happy Raksha Bandhan everyone! Let's celebrate the incredible relationship we share with our siblings. For this video, I have poured my heart into creating 7 distinct Rakhi designs, 3 traditional ones meant for tying and 4 contemporary bracelet styles that capture the spirit of this cherished bond. Let's dive in. I will be using this silicone mold for making the resin medallions and will be working on this medium-sized circle. I will also use this silicone earring mold which has provision for a hole on one side. I will also, in keeping with tradition, show you how to make such a resin medallion if you do not have a silicone mold handy. Just trace the profile you want on a piece of paper and then layer it with a heat-resistant tape, which will need to be taut and secure in place to prevent warping during curing. If you don't have heat-resistant tape, no worries. You can use a translucent silicone or a transparent plastic sheet instead. The sizes I have chosen to work on are similar to keep the designs comparable. To make the holes for some of the medallions, I will use silicone rubber plug stoppers. They are not really meant for this job, but it works for me. I will also use this hand drill when easy and this mechanical drill when things get tough. These plastic hoops come in handy when the medallion design needs to be uninterrupted. To color the medallions, we will use alcohol inks and mica pigments, which will be paired with a variety of crafting materials to create 7 unique designs to choose from. We will also explore alternative ways for closing the bracelet. We will use the traditional red thread, cords of various colors, assorted beads, a needle threader to help with threading the beads, transparent beading wire, jewelry making wire, accessories like jump rings, clasps, crimps, stopper beads, and bead tips, jump ring opener, assorted crafting pliers, a measuring tape or a ruler, and don't forget your UV resin, mixing containers, something for working the resin surface with, and crafting tweezers. Have tissues or wipes handy, a heat gun for those pesky surface bubbles, a basic UV torch or lamp. I also use these little trays to keep things organized. A little scoop for scooping. Keep everything ready before you begin work with resin. Material prep is done. Make sure you have your protective gear on. Let's get crafting. Let's start with a little UV resin and coat the base of the circle in this silicone mold. I will be using this cheerful dried flower embed. A little UV resin to smoothen the center to prevent bubbles from getting trapped there. The base seems cured, so let's go ahead and seal this flower. This flower needs a background. I will use this lovely yellow mica pigment to create one. Since the resin is not clear, I will cure it from the other side as well. This is looking so pretty. The surface is perfect and does not need doming. The petals are casting a shadow on the background. The edge is a little bumpy, so we will sand it down before the next step. Now we need to attach 2 hoops to this medallion. The UV layer is too thick. The hoop keeps sliding off. I need to thin it out so that it doesn't move while curing. Now a layer to seal these attached hoops. Final doming layer for finishing the piece. The medallion is ready for assembly. This indigo themed design uses glass tube beads. There will be no use of alcohol ink or pigment color in this monochromatic medallion. The main embed will also be a flower, just like our previous design, though a little more abstract. I will create another circle of petals using lighter blue beads. The background layer in this monochromatic design will also be made with these beads. Let's pop this out and check our handiwork. The back needs more work, but the front is complete. We will now attach the hoops in the same manner as our yellow design. Our hoops are securely in place. We can begin sealing this surface with UV resin. I am really liking this texture. If this were the front, I would leave it as it is. The back, however, needs a coat to seal the texture and provide a better finishing detail for the hoop pads which are sticking out. I am moving slowly to minimize trapped air between the many grooves on this surface. With this perfect finish, this medallion is now complete. This is looking so unique. The transparency is also very cool. I love how I can see the cross section of the beads from the sides. This is now ready for its band. This is going to be an earthy floral design. This orange alcohol ink resin mix will create the base for our dried flower. This flower is much more delicate than the dried daisy of the yellow design. The front of the flower will face upwards. I am placing the flower with room on the side for the second hole. This layer is a protective coat for the flower. I will not go all the way to the edge because I want the resin to be as thin as possible when we drill the second hole. Let's cure the back before demolding the resin. The resin is still a little warm and bendy. This is perfect. It will make drilling easier. There is a little ring here, possibly because the resin shifted a bit while handling the mold before curing the back. Now we have one hole. We need to create another in a matching size. The cardboard should protect my silicone working mat should the drill break through suddenly at the end. First, I need to mark the other center properly. Now, let's drill. This takes a bit of patience. For a while, it seems nothing is happening till it does. Sanding will take care of any bumps and rough edges to prepare this piece for doming. This delicate design is looking gorgeous. It's catching the light and the transparency is just right. This is a simple design with the classic red and gold combination. The surface is textured because the ink was not uniformly mixed. Let's ease it out of the mold. The medallion base is ready. The colors are looking beautiful together and this transparency, very nice. Let's make the second opening. The base will protect the mat for when the drill breaks through. If I had not used the base, my mat might have been damaged. Let's even out this rough surface before our next step. The rest of the process is simple. We layer with UV resin till we reach the desired finish. There is a little gap on one side and a surface bubble on the other. A little repair coat and we are done. After curing, our medallion will be ready to be assembled into a rakhi. This design has a blue color palette and doesn't use a mold. First, I am going to place the silicone plugs to mark the holes. After making sure that the plugs are securely in the right place, I paint the Chameleon mica pigment powder onto the tape to create the background. UV resin tends to shrink upon curing. The base is bendy, but it will become stable and even as we add layers. But for now, I will use some tape to prevent this backing from becoming wavy. Now another thin layer of resin. This one will be the base for these crafting decorations, which should appear to float because of the gap between the background and the surface created by the first resin layer. Check out the shadows, they are looking so cool. The surface is cured and the bending seems under control. Let's get the plugs out. Now, if I peel the resin off the backing, the resin might get bent. So I will have to peel the backing of the resin instead. We will need to sand the edges a bit before adding more layers. This is the skeleton on which we'll keep adding layers until we reach the desired thickness. This is one major difference where I feel epoxy resin is a winner if time is not a constraint. I can just apply a single thick coat and the resin will hold its form well without warping. But with UV resin, I need to work in multiple layers because otherwise the object will bend. The surface is almost done. Now we need to give a little attention to the sides. Doming makes the surface reflective and magnifies the design features within. After curing this final layer to dome the front, our medallion will be ready for assembly. We will use the same circular mold as the daisy design, but here we will be introducing holes like we did with our blue design. I'm gluing these plugs into this mold with UV resin and then curing it in place. Our theme is green. I will use these dried leaves to make a tiny leafy bouquet inside this resin canvas. This layer is the face of the medallion and will ensure that any embed is away from the surface. The mold is smooth and barring some unforeseen seepage of resin along the sides, I will only need to apply a finishing coat to the back. I feel as if there is a missing piece. Let's add another. Most of this glitter is too jarring for this composition. I am just using the transparent holographic pieces. Not sure if they will even be visible. Finally, a little glittery background to add a little celebration. I decided to sprinkle it like salt to avoid glitter clumps. The plugs come out leaving a thin film of resin which breaks away easily when folded along the rim of the opening. This design needs a background for the leaf inlays to pop. First, a layer to cover the glitter. Now, we need a layer to hold the background color. Reducing the transparency will make the leafy design more prominent. Oops, let's get that out of the way. I want the background to be a little messy in keeping with the natural theme. Because there were pigments in the resin, which was an uneven mix, the surface is not smooth. It needs another finishing coat of UV resin. And our medallion is complete and ready for final assembly. This design is inspired by the silence that comes between the roars of two waves on the seashore. We are using the same mold and hole making technique as our previous leafy green design. This inlay technique is similar to our Beady indigo centerpiece. Mica pigment is added to the background for depth effect, just like our daisy yellow medallion. This is beautiful. The medallions are complete and each of them have their own personality. Which one do you like the most? Let me know in the comments below, would love to know. Now, we will add the band to complete these Rakhi bracelets. This is going to be our traditional tie Rakhi. I'm using this red thread because I don't have embroidery threads, which would be a better choice for this job. After securing the thread to the medallion, I'm going to string red and gold beads onto it. Keeping with the color scheme, I have chosen this cord, but it is not really great for tying. So I will add bracelet making accessories to complete this band. After cutting the cord into the required length, I will crimp the ends. I am going to make an extended chain because I don't have one in matching color, but I do have a bunch of copper colored jump rings. Let's put it all together and complete this bracelet. I want to keep this simple and pretty. I will shorten this to style it like a bracelet. I will add a little bead to the end of this chain to jazz up this piece. This is also going to be a Rakhi style bracelet which can be tied at the ends. All we need is beads and this cord. Our blue design is also going to be a tie rakhi. Because this was created by layering instead of pouring, the thickness around the holes is a little lesser, which is perfect because it makes the junction less bulky. I'm going to add a splash of silver to this blue design to complete it. If you're working with cords thicker than the bead holes, you might need to narrow the tip of the cord in order to get it through the bead hole. To complete this, we will use more beads, some jewelry making wire, and these accessories to complete the bracelet. This joint looks unreliable, so I will use a little resin magic to secure it. This medallion is really sublime. I'm going to use this jewelry making wire and matching cord along with these beads to complete the band. Let's use these jump rings to put everything together. Here's our rainbow lineup of rakhis and bracelets. We used a range of techniques to craft the medallions and paired them with different band styles. I hope one or more of these ideas inspires you on your own resin journey. Leave a comment below and let me know which one is your favorite or how you would do it differently. Happy crafting and have a wonderful day.